Hi, everybody. My name is Zach Bonzel. I'm a medical student at USC. Me llamo Zach Bonzel. Soy un estudiante de medicina en la Escuela de Medicina de USC. And today's presentation, Medical Moment, is about air quality and health, or calidad de aire y los impactos para salud. Oh, I don't know how to go forward. Oh, okay. So to start, I wanted to just open it up and ask you guys how poor air quality has affected you, or cómo te ha afectado la calidad bajo del aire. So does anyone have any stories? And also, how did you deal with the poor air quality? So here's a trip, or here's a picture of San Francisco when the air quality was really bad. I didn't even know Tara was in San Francisco recently. I must have read her mind. And so, yeah, does anyone have any stories?
I think with the recent fires, we all experienced our air quality. I also saw the sky being really smoky. I was going for walks during the quarantine, but that week when the fires were really bad, I just didn't want to go outside. Just going out, you could smell the smoke. And instead of being a nice, relaxing walk, it just seemed more stressful.
Mm.
Oh, Kendra.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that it's stressful,
Yeah.
because that's something that I'm going to return to later on in the presentation. Does anyone else have a story? ¿Algunos otros cuentos?
I have a story. So my story is that when I was in high school, I remember I had just moved from Arizona to Manhattan Beach. We all think of Manhattan Beach as like really nice air quality, right? I think we do. South Bay. I was running around we always had to run because I was in drill team. So I was running around the field like 3 times. And I think like after 1.5, I couldn't catch my breath. And I couldn't figure that out because I always ran. And somebody said, oh, it's a smog inversion day. And I couldn't believe it. So I went home. On my way home, I still couldn't breathe. And I walked about a mile home, 1.5 miles. And then a girlfriend of mine said, oh, put this towel over your head and breathe in the steam. And, I've never had asthma in my life. And I was so scared. And I thought that has really been an interesting experience, because then I found out that air pollution was like asthma. And that's kind of what you were trying to teach us, I think, is that air pollution can make us actually feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
But it's much better than it was when I was a teenager, believe it or not, because of the improvement in our catalytic converters in our cars. It's really improved the air quality. Yay, California law.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up that it can make you feel so bad, because that actually segues into my next slide, which is, what are we talking about when we talk about poor air quality? What we're really talking about is tiny particles this is how big they are relative to things like sand, or relative to human hair. Talking about things that are much smaller. So PM10 is 10 microns, and they're so tiny that this is their size in relation to things like sand or human hairs, which we consider very small. And this is just another thing I wanted to show about how the small particles can get into our bodies. And so when it's the larger of the smaller ones, they still get trapped in the top of our upper respiratory tract, but as they get progressively smaller, they can get into our lungs, And then if they're so small, they can actually pass through our lungs and into our bloodstream. Um, and then to translate that, I would just say that hay tamaños diferentes de los partículas en el aire que pueden pasar por los pulmones y los más pequeños pueden pasar por el sistema de circulación, por el sangre, la sangre por nuestro cuerpo. And so what does this mean for our health? It's not an exact science, but one cool tool that I found is this app called, pardon my language, Shit I Smoke. And what it does is converts your city's air pollution to daily cigarettes. And so this is especially important if any of you guys have friends who smoke. You can tell them that what they smoke already, that this is how you can measure the what the air quality is adding on to that. And so este es un app en el teléfono que convierte la calidad de aire a un número de cigarrillos fumado en un día. Entonces, ponga su ubicación y le dice que es igual de fumar como 3.7 cigarrillos en un día. And so with that, I wanted to move more towards solutions. And the main solutions to the health effects of poor air quality are to improve the quality of the air. And so some of these are to make energy cleaner, to reduce things like forest fires, to reduce trash burning, to make transportation more eco-friendly, more bike lanes, more public transit like trains, fewer cars on the road, like Dr. Gorlitsky brought up. That's why air quality used to be, part of why it used to be so bad in LA was because everyone was driving these really polluting cars. And so la solución de la calidad bajo de aire es la prevención. Entonces, para crear formas de transportación más saludables para el aire, como viajar en tren, tránsito público y menos carros en las calles. And this is some advice from UNICEF, the Children's Fund of the United Nations, of things you can do when the air quality is bad. Esto es consejo por UNICEF. So stay inside when the pollution is high. Queda adentro cuando la calidad de aire es muy bajo. If you do go out, you can wear a mask. So lleva una máscara. This one, install window filters and air filters at home, I think is a bit of a stretch, so I'm not really going to talk about that. But then the last one is to consume food and drinks that are high in vitamin C, E, and omega-3 antioxidants. And entonces esto es de comer y beber cosas que tienen mucha vitamina de C, E, y omega-3. And what are these and why would we eat them? What they do is reduce inflammation, la reducción de la inflamación. And this is the main way that poor air quality is damaging to the body. Esta es la manera primaria en que la calidad de aire bajo puede causar daño al cuerpo. And so these are things like eating more fruits and vegetables, eating more whole grains, eating fatty fish, beans, olive oil, tea, ginger, turmeric. These are whole foods that contain vitamins and antioxidants that help reduce inflammation in the body and can combat some of the potential negative effects of poor air quality. And then along with that, to eat fewer of things like dairy, red meat, refined flours, refined sugar, charred food, alcohol, soy, hydrogenated oils and saturated fats, seed oils. Basically, a lot of these things that are really delicious treats are actually not good for our bodies, unfortunately. And they can worsen, or not necessarily worsen, but not necessarily help you either. Um, and so this is a lot of processed food, fast food, things that come in a plastic package generally are things that aren't going to help you. And then other habits, moderate exercise, reducing stress and meditating. So this is what Dr. Gorlitsky was um, sorry, no, what Tara was saying about it being stressful. Getting to your recommended body weight, eating these foods helps with that, certainly. And then consistently getting good sleep. Sleep is a very vital part of staying healthy. People mainly think about diet and exercise, but sleep is actually the other big piece of that. So specifically on those last ones, I wanted to talk about stress relief or alivio del estrés. And these are some methods that can be used to work on the stressful aspects of having poor air quality outside, because it's very damaging for our mental health to have these toxic plumes of dark smoke outside. It's scary, and it is really hard. And so we need to talk about and cultivate ways that we can deal with that stress that can be, damaging just alongside whatever happens in your lungs. Entonces, estos son métodos de manejar el estrés que viene con la calidad bajo de aire que estamos experimentando ahorita en California, Oregon, y Washington. Some of these are yoga, meditation, mindfulness, stretching, breathing exercises, massage, and then again, sufficient sleep. And so that's all I had, but I wanted to leave this picture here because I wanted to ask you guys what are some of the things that you do to try to get yourself to resemble the person in this picture. Entonces, ¿qué hacen ustedes para relajarse y para ver como la mujer en esta fotografía? So what are some of the things you guys do?
Well, one of our firm members, Robin, does somatic exercises every Tuesday and Thursday, which I was just at before. And so she was doing all these exercises, and after I just felt like I could take a nap. So I felt like I was like this just before we started.
That's good. Well, hopefully I didn't stress you back out with all this talk about particulates.
Yeah. Well, I like to go hiking. I'm gonna go hiking after work today, so air quality is a little better today.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what I do, and I stretch in the mornings or at night, depending how I feel.
Nice.
What do you do, Ariel? ¿A qué lo hago, Ariel? Is she frozen?
I think she may be.
I heard you went
I went to
Springs?
hiking
Oh,
twice already in Palm Springs.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah,
Hot there, right, though? Really hot?
yeah, it is hot. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the desert has really clear air.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Who's that? Do you see, Tara, who's trying to join us? I like to walk my dog.
iPhone.
My dog is so happy when I walk her. And it just makes me happy. and I get to watch all the dogs socializing, whether their owners are trying to stay away, but they don't stay away from each other. And it's kind of, we live vicariously through our dogs.
Yeah, I have iPhone trying to join. Not sure who it is. Oh, Rosa.
Oh, yeah, it's Doña Rosa.
Oh, Rosa missed. I don't know, Zach, if you could do a short summary for Rosa. She's one of our most, yeah, she's been the most consistent attendee throughout the medical moments.
Oh, absolutely. In English or Spanish?
In Spanish, she only.
In Espanol. You did great, Zach, in Spanish.
Spanish is really good.
I can't believe it. It's going in your evaluation. I just want you to know that. That is really, you were so tentative about it when you started. And now, man, you're up there. Just saying it all.
So
It's great.
it'd be great, yeah, Zach, if you could give a brief summary in Spanish for Rosa.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Rosa. Bienvenidos, mucho gusto. Yo hablé hoy sobre la calidad de aire y cómo ha afectado nuestra salud. Y entonces empecé en hablar sobre qué, qué es mal en el aire, qué son las partes malas para nuestra salud. Y se llaman partículas y son muy, muy pequeños como más de 10 veces más pequeño que un cabello, como más como polvo, pero más pequeño y entra por la boca y el nariz y mueve por nuestros pulmones y si son tan pequeños pueden pasar por los pulmones y entrar por nuestra sangre. Y esto causa inflamación y entonces para trabajar, para mejorar y para pelear contra la inflamación en nuestros cuerpos, hay cosas que podemos hacer como cambiar nuestra dieta, enfocarnos en comidas naturales como verduras y pescado y menos de carne, menos de leche y menos de junk food, menos comidas, sí, saludables. Y también hay ejercicios que podemos hacer um, para relajarnos, como estirarse, ejercicios de respirar, como yoga. Sí, muy bien, gracias. Meditación, exacto. Y esas son cosas que cuando nosotros tenemos menos estrés, ayuda en una manera muy literalmente nuestra salud y reduce la inflamación. Y esto es como mi mensaje grande de esta presentación, es de relajarse, es de reducir la inflamación y los efectos malos de la calidad de aire. Entonces, sí, es mi resumen. Muchas gracias por asistir.
Y si tú tienes ideas para control la aire o la polución en su país, ¿cuáles son las ideas que tú tienes? Si usted está el presidente o or por los de Estados Unidos, la mayor de Los Ángeles. ¿Qué tipo de cambiar pienso? If you were mayor of, I like to imagine this. What if you're mayor of Los Angeles? What would you do to improve the air quality? And if you were president of the country that you come from, what would you do? How would you, if they suddenly elected you president, what would you do to improve the quality of the environment? Am I the only one who wanted to be mayor? Because I would definitely try to restore the LA River,
Mm.
and I would only allow ma and pa stores along it. And I would have only bike paths and walking paths along the LA River. And that's what I would do if I ruled the world.
That sounds really nice. I biked along the LA River earlier in the summer. It could definitely be nicer after your improvements as mayor.
Yes, I think I'm going to run on that platform actually, with a goal of by the end of my term that you could kayak straight down the river. And if you fell out of the river, you wouldn't die. ¿Se puede preguntar eso en español? Can somebody say it better than me in Spanish so we can hear from Ariel, and go ahead.
Ya, lo puse en el chat al lado, pero puse si ustedes fueran presidente de su país natal, ¿qué cambiarían para mejorar el ambiente? O si fueran alcalde de Los Ángeles, ¿qué es lo que ustedes cambiarían para mejorar el ambiente y bajar la polución?
Mm, educar más a la gente, pienso.
Educar a la gente. Bueno.
Más campaña en apoyo a la gente para que, no sé, más botes de basura, más, no sé, decirle a la gente que salga a recoger la basura, irnos a la playa, a colectar la basura de las playas, de los ríos. Maybe, I don't know. You can translate that.
Yeah, so she would empower the people with education and also do beach cleanups and river cleanups and just clean up the environment, as well as add trash cans around the cities.
Oh, good idea. And I would hire a whole bunch of people that are out of work to go through the garbage that we're collecting that we don't really recycle that we could, so that we recycle more stuff, figure out ways to recycle more stuff, because right now we're not collecting and separating it like we should. And put everybody with good safe gloves and goggles and go in and in an open space, big conveyor belts, and pay them well, a nice living